Hey, welcome back. It's John Stark, your favorite blind film critic, and we're going to be talking about An American Bombing, The Road to April 19th. This is a documentary. It's currently available on Max. It has audio description produced by International Digital Center, written by Dakota Green, and narrated by Michael Tricarico. And click subscribe because if those words are new to you and you're like, what is audio description? That's why I'm here, is to help talk about that. So, what's this documentary about? Pretty obviously an American bombing, but which one? Oklahoma City, in case you're not great with your dates. This is the Oklahoma City bombing, which took place on April 19th. We've reached another anniversary date for that, and thus a documentary has occurred. Um, this really just sort of goes over all of the details for the Oklahoma City bombing and really sort of well gathered, well edited, put together, structured formula, interviewing people who were there to investigate, to who witnessed, to lost people, uh, people along the way. And it also talks about sort of the radicalism of the far right and where that came from, and how somebody like Timothy McVeigh went from being just a guy to a guy who did a terrible thing, and how that sort of relates in the parallels today when the people who worked on Oklahoma City bombing see something like January 6th, and they see a lot of that, the same sort of stuff that had been investigating for years, represented in current days. So it ties it all together. It is mostly about the Oklahoma City bombing, although it does briefly touch on some other things like Ruby Ridge, as catalysts for potentially the behavior of Timothy McVeigh and his other cohorts, although it does focus mostly on McVeigh, as opposed to anybody else. So, yeah, this is exactly what that is. That's it. That is the whole thing. It goes on. It's well structured, and it interviews a lot of people, and it interviews Bill Clinton, which I didn't think they were going to sit him down for an interview for a documentary, but he participates in this. So it kind of made it feel like it was more of a benchmark documentary instead of just like any old guy can make a documentary about this. For him to sit down sort of gave the documentary a little bit more weight. This is currently available on Max, so you can watch it. And the audio description was pretty solid. The one thing that I questioned was just what you question with any talking head documentary, which is who is talking. Aside from Clinton, who has the insanely recognizable voice, most of these people, I don't know who they are. And even when they're mentioned and they come back around, I didn't even remember who they were. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even I needed more reminders, because there were a lot of people who all sort of had the same like regional type of accent. And I just didn't know. I was like, what was this guy again? Like, what did he do? I feel like I was expected to remember a lot of information. It's a bitch when you don't have facial recognition as a blind person and you're just like, what? Um, and you rely totally on that, and you're hoping that you can pick up and match voices, and most of the time I can, but this one has a lot of people who all sort of sound regionally of the area. I don't want to, it's not quite Ozarkian because they're just a little bit south of it in Oklahoma. It's flat, so there are no mountains in Oklahoma. Anyway, so I don't know really what to call it, but yeah, so everybody kind of sounded the same to me. But I really love this documentary. I thought it was well thought out, structured, shot. I thought the interviews that they put together were powerful, from people who knew what they were talking about, from people who you can't sit there and be like, this is just some controversy bullshit. I don't know. You can't. There's nothing you can really finger here. They're just trying to tell you about Oklahoma City bombing. You know, I'm sure there's some weird conspiracy theorist sitting in a basement right now that thinks that was done by frog aliens or something. I don't know, but for the most part, for any completely sane people, they're just going to watch this and take the information as is, and you know, remember the tragedy that happened. I personally have driven past, well, not driven past, but I've visited the site, I should say, of Oklahoma, of the Oklahoma City bombing, and wasn't too far after. It was in the late '90s, so it wasn't too far after the actual event. So, um, and it was a pretty crazy thing to see even then. So, um, it's just a reminder of domestic terrorism and the ramifications of what that could look like on American soil and what somebody is fully capable of when they're radicalized enough. So, anyway, not a happy documentary, but sometimes I like to think while watching a film, and this film gave me that. So, HBO documentaries is doing a pretty good job of killing it this year. So, between this and The Truth About Alex Jones, and I feel like I've seen at least one more documentary from them, I've been really enjoying their output. So, I'm going to give An American Bombing, The Road to April 19th, an A. Like I said, I think the audio description here done by International Visitor Center is really pretty good. The only thing I would have said is maybe more names, but that's just a common thing with talking head documentaries is who is talking, who is this, why do I need to know? And especially when they're not famous already and you can't recognize their voices, it just becomes a lot harder. So there are a lot of people that talk in this documentary from various perspectives, and I tried my best to track all of them, but every once in a while there was a guy who I think had previously spoken, and maybe I had a name, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is. Which voice is this? So that maybe would have been the only thing, but otherwise, yeah, it's fine. So, and it was a nice introduction to a new narrator. I'm not that familiar, or I don't know if I'm familiar at all with Michael Tricario, so I thought he did fine with this. He has the right tone for this project, so good choices, good life choices. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.